Have you ever watched your own life slipping away, one idle day at a time? John had. He wasn't a bad man, just tired. Always tired. He lived in a quiet town surrounded by wheat fields that shimmered gold at sunset. People there worked hard, from dawn till the stars came out, but John was different. He loved comfort. He loved the idea of success, but not the work that built it. Each morning, he told himself, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow to work on his farm. Tomorrow to fix the fence. Tomorrow to change. But tomorrow never came. At first, it didn't seem to matter. His neighbors helped him harvest. His parents sent him food from their garden. He laughed, slept late, and told stories by the fire. Yet slowly, his fields began to die. The soil grew hard. The tools rusted, and weeds rose where grain once swayed. If you enjoy stories that awaken something inside you, follow for more. Now, listen carefully to John's fall. One spring morning, a heavy storm struck the valley. Winds tore roofs, and the river flooded. Everyone worked together to protect their homes. Everyone except John. He sat inside, staring at the rain, thinking, it's too late to do anything now. When the storm passed, half the village stood ruined. His own barn collapsed, his animals gone. He walked through the mud, trembling. For the first time, he realized what his laziness had cost him. It wasn't just his barn. It was his dignity. That night, hungry and ashamed, he knocked on his neighbor Elias's door. Elias was an older farmer, quiet, hardworking, and kind. He gave John a blanket and bread without a word. The next morning, John offered to repay him by helping on his farm. Elias nodded, but with a warning. Work here if you want. But remember, the earth forgives no idleness. You must rise before the sun, or not at all. John nodded quickly. But when dawn came, his body refused to move. The bed felt warm, the air cold. By the time he reached the field, the others were already halfway done. Elias said nothing, just handed him a shovel. John worked for an hour before collapsing in the dirt. He felt useless, humiliated. I can't do this, he muttered. Elias looked at him for a long moment and said, Then you can't live. John stared at him, confused. Elias continued, Everything in this valley grows because it struggles. The wheat breaks through the soil. The river carves through stone. Even the sun must rise through clouds. Only the lazy remain buried. Those words burned in John's chest. That night, John didn't sleep. He thought about every wasted day, every excuse. He realized his laziness had been more than a habit. It was a thief, stealing his life one silent hour at a time. The next morning, before dawn, he stood at Elias's gate. The air was cold, his breath white against the dark sky. Elias looked surprised. You're early, John said quietly. I don't want to be buried anymore. From that day, everything changed, but not easily. He woke before sunrise, even when rain soaked the fields. His hands blistered. His back ached. Many nights, he fell asleep beside the fire, too tired to eat. Yet inside, something new began to grow. Pride. He started fixing his broken barn. He cleaned his land. Step by step, the man who once wasted every dawn was now chasing it. Months passed. The harvest came again. This time, John's field stood tall with golden wheat. When the villagers passed by, they smiled in quiet disbelief. The lazy man had become one of the hardest workers in town. But just as everything seemed to return to peace, another storm came, harsher than before. Winds screamed across the hills, and the river swelled again. John ran outside, shouting to his neighbors, helping them lift sandbags and tie roofs. All night, he worked through thunder and rain. When the morning light finally broke, the valley stood battered but safe. John's barn was gone again, destroyed completely, but his heart felt strong. Elias approached. placing a hand on his shoulder. "Lost your barn again, I see." John smiled faintly. "Yes, but this time, I didn't lose myself." The next season, people said John's name differently, not with pity, but with respect. He began teaching young boys how to work the land, sharing Elias's words. "The earth forgives no idleness. You must rise before the sun, or not at all." Sometimes, when travelers passed through and saw him laboring with calm joy, they'd ask, "How did you change?" He'd pause, look at the fields, and say, "I didn't change overnight. I just stopped letting comfort kill my days. Every morning, I rise before the sun, not to chase success, but to prove I'm still alive." If this story touched you, remember, laziness doesn't destroy you all at once. It erases you slowly, day by day, until there's nothing left. But the moment you rise and face the dawn, even once, you begin again. Stay well and stay awake to your own life.